Join us for intriguing African stories coming to this platform in April.
So, tell me a bit more about your alcohol intake. How much were you drinking per day?
I started drinking when I was somewhere, I think 13 to 14 years old. That was in 2009 or 8. So I used to drink with grown-ups, and that's a very long time ago. So I used to drink heavily that time that I even blacked out sometimes. So I was a heavy drinker back then. I can't remember the amount which I was taking, but I was drinking heavy.
What were you drinking? Was it beer, and what was the name of it?
I was drinking, what you call this, ethanol? Not ethanol. I think it has to be that spirit which is made by it's either ethanol or something like that. That spirit which is brewed locally here in Malawi. It's called kajasu in Chichewa. And I was also drinking the local brew which is made by a local company here called Chibuku. And I was also drinking something which is made in the villages called it's a form of wine. I think it's locally made.
You're going to have to find out the liters for me that's in those bottles, because here,
The liters.
yeah, when you do in your time, I mean, we have till July, August, so you now would have to find out the liters. So we would have to.
I can't remember the details because they used to give us the cachasu beer, not beer. It's a spirit, I should say. It used to be in bottles,
Yeah.
so there were different sizes. I should say different sizes. Sometimes we drink a very big one. Maybe we were a group of maybe how many people? Maybe let's say maybe 3 to 4 people. I wasn't the only one who went drinking. I didn't used to go around that time. But sometimes when I was used to the alcohol, I would go alone and I would take a very small bottle of the wine which I'm talking about. It was a 350 milliliters wine, I think, something like that. But it was very strong.
Right. You probably would have to explain to me how you were able to buy it. Who offered you the alcohol? Who paid for it?
I used to pay.
So where?
Sometimes when I had money, I would go there alone
Go
and I
where?
would
Go where?
to the drinking sites.
So you need to paint a picture for me, please. Is it like a kiosk? Is it like a bar?
Okay. There were bars. There are bars. We have bars, we have shabins, we have bars. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they call them.
You're going to have to write that for me. You have to spell it. And basically, so that we're allowed to have underaged children.
Pretty much, yes. That time they're allowed. And those places are not really regulated, so pretty much everyone can go. I think only the bars which are in the cities, or maybe in town, or maybe in the urban areas, that's where they regulate. But I think I don't even think they regulate because I think here everyone is allowed, not allowed because there is a restriction, but most people just go to drink at any age. Maybe you find the 16-year-old, 17-year-old drinking, they would say nothing. But when I used to go there, I would meet grown-ups who would tell me that I'm very young. I was not supposed to be there. Not the one who was sitting, but the ones who were drinking with me. They would say that you're very young. You're not supposed to be drinking. You have to stay in school, and I would still go because I wanted to be drinking.
Yeah. And where did you get the permission from your mom, your parents? What did they used to say?
I didn't get any questions from my parents, my mother, my grandmother, or anyone else. I was doing it on my own. They didn't even know that I was drinking. But they knew that I used to be drinking after I had withdrawal syndrome.
After you had what?
Alcohol withdrawal syndrome.
Yeah. So
Yes.
can you describe them?
The alcohol withdrawal syndrome.
Yeah.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test. I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion. Even though I offer all of the solutions, I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you I knew this. When I'm with you I feel so useless, I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me? Then will you get bored of killing me? And will you get bored of killing me? And will you get bored of killing me? And will you get bored of killing me? I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
So, are you all good? Have you eaten?
I was just finished cook. I've just finished cooking, so I might eat later. Let's just get this over with.
What did you cook?
Spaghetti, or they call it pasta. Some other pasta. Well, so yeah, I'm used to spaghetti though.
Okay, pasta. Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so are you all right for data?
Yeah, I updated.
Okay, so let's just carry on with what we were talking about yesterday. So I
Okay.
want to go back to when you started drinking, and I said, so you said you were 13, and
Yeah, maybe 13, 14.
13, 14. Were you in secondary school then?
Yes, when I was 13 years old, I was in Form 3. It's like grade. I don't know how the English works, like, because it's like the IGSCE curriculum has 6 secondary school classes, something like that. Because I went to one before. Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh, much different. Your sound quality is far better than what I
Alright,
had when
fine.
okay, yeah. So basically, you were in secondary school, and tell me then, what are the problems you were experiencing with your
I
mental?
was in secondary school. I was in the 3rd class of secondary school.
Okay, tell me whether you were having problems with your mental health as well.
I cannot get you properly. I think the network is malfunctioning.
Oh, can you hear me any better?
Hello?
Oh, you want to go back indoors then?
I'm not getting you properly. The network is malfunctioning. It's misbehaving.
Okay, so do you want to go back indoors?
Yeah, I think now I can hear you. Ask the question again.
So I said, were you in camp?
No, ask me the question again.
That's what I'm going to do now. I said, were you encountering problems with your mental health?
The network is giving me some issues, but you can go ahead.
So did you hear my question?
I didn't. That's why I'm saying you should repeat it.
I have repeated it a couple of times. How come you can hear me now, but you didn't hear my question?
No, then the network is bad here. I don't know why the network is bad, because I'm not getting what you're saying clearly.
Okay, do you want to go back indoors? Do you want to go back inside?
It's the same, because
All right.
it's the same thing.
Well, you can hear me because you answered.
Because I didn't move away from the house.
Okay, so listen, You're meant.
Yeah, but sometimes when you're speaking, that's when I can get the questions. Yes.
Okay, tell me about your drinking. I won't interrupt. I can hear you. So tell me about your drinking, and just tell me about your parents, how they found out. Tell me about the withdrawal symptoms. Just carry on.
Okay, what happened was I started drinking when I was in secondary school. It was all because of peer pressure, because there was an incident whereby the school latrines were not in good shape. So we had a meeting with the school's director, and we told him that we needed him to have them fixed. So he said he was going to do it later on in next month's coming. So as the students, on our own, we discussed that, no, he's not going to do it. What we should do is just destroy them so that when he sees that the toilets are falling down, he's going to do it by on command. So we did it. So when the names of the people who were destructing the school's property came out, I came out to be as a leader. So my friends had to advise me, but the advice was wrong, because they told me that I think it's better if you start drinking instead of being vandalizing school property and doing all that bad kind of behaviors. So I thought I took that advice, thinking it was the right one, not knowing that it was the wrong one. I was 13 by that time. I was in Form 3. The last class of secondary school is Form 4. So I was remaining with one class, but it was a bad idea. So I started drinking at the time. When I started drinking, I used to feel it was okay because I didn't know that I had mental health. I had a mental health issue. I thought I was going to be okay. But then some of my friends had to tell me that if you start drinking with the way I know you, you'll not be intelligent as you were back then. So I took it as a joke. Then I started consuming a lot of alcohol. I would go with the grown-ups, we would go drinking, we would go maybe at night sometimes during the day, sometimes even during the morning hours. So I started drinking at the age of 13, and I went on until maybe I was 15, I think. Maybe when I was 15. We would go to the local pubs, which are found in the villages. We would go there, we would buy our drinks and start drinking. And then later on, when I decided that, no, this thing is not taking me anywhere, it's a bad behavior, I thought of stopping. And after a while, that's when I started finding out that I had alcohol withdrawal syndromes. I think that was also the genesis of my mental health issues, because it aligns, because that's when I started feeling that I was not doing the normal stuff. So I was thinking maybe it was the alcohol withdrawal syndrome, not knowing that it was the start of my mental health issue. That's what happened. So my mom, I had to confess to my mom. She had to ask me. My late mom asked me, "What is going on with you?" And I was telling her some different stuff, saying I want to confess. I want to start living a righteous life. I don't want to drink anymore. And what is going on with you? I want to know what's going on with you. And I explained that I think it's alcohol which I was taking, and I don't know what was happening, because I was just shaking. I was
very well. So give me a bit
sure.
of the symptoms. You said shaking. So the withdrawal
Yes.
symptoms. So you used to say, yes, go on. Apart from shaking.
I used to. I was thinking that I was producing a bad smell. Let's say, like the alcohol was protruding out of my nose in form of a smell. Even I overheard my mom. She was talking with a certain friend who came to pick me up, a friend of my uncle's who came there to pick me up to go to the hospital and have myself checked and verified with what was wrong with me. So I heard her say that I think now this is pure whiskey which is coming out of his nose. I can smell it from it. That's what she used to say. That's what she said. But I think maybe this wasn't the thing. But this is just my thought. I was just thinking that maybe that's what was happening to me. But the other stuff which was happening with me was that I was acting abnormally. I would sometimes think that people were talking about me. It was just a mixture.
Okay,
It was a mixture of alcohol.
So you became paranoid.
Yes, I became paranoid. Yeah, I can say that. I became paranoid.
Okay, you thought people were sometimes talking about you.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So what happened after that? You told me you were going to hospital. So what happened?
I think this was the first case of me having a mental breakdown. That was in 2010 when I was 14. Yeah, I was 14 at that time, or 15, maybe 15 or 14. I think it has to be 15. It has to be 15 because I was 14 in 2009 and 15 I was in 2010. That's when I was 15. So my mother and her brothers took me to the hospital
for a checkup. That's when I started taking medication. But I wasn't clear of what was going on. I was just thinking that maybe it was alcohol withdrawal syndrome, or maybe it was just a mere illness which was occurring, which I was passing through. I wasn't sure that it was a mental illness or something like that. So yeah, that's what happened at that time.
Okay, so were you physically unwell?
Physically unwell? What do you mean? Can you remember?
Did you have any sort of stomach pains, headaches, sweating?
I would say maybe the headaches one, and my eyes weren't working properly. They weren't performing the way they were supposed to, because sometimes I wouldn't sleep. I was failing to sleep. I would be hearing noises. I would be having some disturbances, and then I wouldn't sleep normally.
So you had, so you also had...
like I was...
So you had difficulties falling asleep?
Insomnia. That's what we call it, right?
Yeah, insomnia.
Yes, insomnia. I had. Yes. Yes, I had that one.
Okay. So tell me then, when were you first diagnosed with a mental illness?
I think it was back in Waila Hospital. It's also called Bottom. I sent you the spellings, the way you spell it. It's BWAILA Hospital.
Yeah.
It's in Lilongwe, the capital city.
What symptoms did you have then?
Back then, in the first diagnosis, I wasn't really cooperating with people around me. I was just isolating myself, staying all alone. I wasn't really taking care of myself, as in hygiene, I think.
So
it happened really fast.
You were neglecting your hygiene. What were you doing just now? Were you moving around doing something, or are you eating?
I was... What? Right now?
No, because I could hear some background noise, that's all.
No, right now I'm just seated down. I'm seated down on the floor, on the veranda.
Okay. So you said you're neglecting your hygiene.
I was neglecting my hygiene. I would stay long hours without bathing. So, and then when I get there, I would take a lot of hours in the bathroom, just taking a shower. So the rest I can't clearly remember, because that was the first time and it wasn't really clear. But I remember the symptoms which I had the second time. That's the ones which I wrote in the story. That I had to start thinking that I was on a mission for a certain intelligence agency. Okay. And I was thinking that I was assigned to go there.
Can you tell us a bit more about you being on a mission for an intelligence agency? Explain to us a bit more what you mean.
I used to watch a lot of movies back then. So I was thinking that maybe in the future I would become. I was just ambitious. I was thinking that maybe I would become an intelligence agency for maybe the companies like organizations like CIA, maybe
So you,
FBI
you
or something.
you thought you were a CIA agent?
Something more like a CIA agent or maybe FBI or maybe something like that. So
Okay. Did you used to tell people that you were a CIA agent?
No, I didn't tell people, but I thought the thought was there that I was going on a mission. So that's when instead.
Where was the mission going to be?
I can't remember, but then I was just thinking that I'll be assigned somewhere else. So I started running away from home. That's when my mother caught me. And she was like, "Where are you going?" She was asking me a lot of questions. And then I thought that maybe she was going to disturb me. She was being somehow like disturb me from going to the mission.
She was
like
going
she was trying to distract me. She was preventing me from going. She was avoiding me from going. So I had to hit her. That's what happened.
So explain to us a bit more how you hit your mom.
After I got out of the hospital, I heard that on that day I started running through the roads. Like on the town, I started running, and people had to catch me. They tied my hands and my legs, and they took me to the hospital that day. So I didn't know what happened next because I don't know how to say it. But then I was totally out of my mind that time. I can't remember what happened.
Yeah, you were very unwell, weren't you?
So I was very unwell.
Can I say you were psychotic?
Yes, I was psychotic. Okay. I remember after we reached the hospital, but I remember only a few bits because I was asked some questions. I couldn't respond, and my mother was the one who was responding. And then I was taken into the mental asylum. I was first put in the ladies section.
Okay,
That's when I met this.
Please, can you move a little bit because your sound sounds a bit blurred.
I'm sounding a little bit blurred.
Yeah, your sound is hard. It's not easy to hear what you're saying. It sounds you begin to sound a little bit static.
Okay, let me try to get the microphone here out my earphones. Okay, can you hear me now better?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
You then went to hospital and you told me about that. Now tell me about your medication because you've already told me about your admission. Tell me about what medication you were put on.
I was put on different kinds of medication. I remember carbamazepine, but I don't know how to mention or pronounce it because it's an Italian.
I know what it is. I told you that I was a registered nurse here.
Yes,
I have administered carbamazepine, so I know what it is. So I know it's an antipsychotic. So it's
that one.
Typical antipsychotic, isn't it? What else were you on?
Amitriptyline.
Yeah, I don't know. Amitriptyline.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's pronounced. Yeah. I was also on chloromazepine. I don't know how to.
Chloromazepine.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, that's quite a lot.
It was a lot in the first days because they wanted me to be better. But I think some of them were substituted afterwards. But I'm just trying to recall what I was given because it's been long since I had those kind of medications. Right now, I'm on 2. But that back then, I had, I think, maybe quite a number, maybe 4, including fluphenazine Modicate.
Fluphenazine Modicate.
Yeah, those are 2 names, but it's for one drug.
I understand what it is. Fluphenazine Modicate. Yeah.
Sure.
Were you given anything did you encounter any side effects, and were you given anything for that?
Side effects, I would sleep for long hours. I would oversleep.
So you had oversedation.
Yes, I would be drowsy when I take the medication during the day. I wouldn't really attend school or do anything else. I had to stay at home for quite a while.
Blimey, so you meant you missed out on your schooling, didn't you?
Yes, I did, because that was in 2012. That's when I started college, but I wasn't really performing. I was passing, yes, but I didn't really perform well. I started taking my medication, I think, in 2011, but I stopped because I thought I was well. I think I explained this in the story as well. I thought because I was well, then I stopped taking the medication.
Yeah. So tell me then, what medication you actually taking now?
I take carbamazepine as in orally, and I take fluphenazine as an injection. This one.
We call that a depot injection.
Yes.
So how often do you have your depot? Is it 6 monthly? Or?
After a month, 20 days.
Okay.
Monthly. I take them monthly.
Okay. So thank you ever so much for sharing that. You were telling me in the story that at some point you became quite religious and you met this lady who was praying for you. Tell us a bit more about that.
The lady was very kind to me because she explained that I wasn't supposed to rely only on prayers. I was supposed to go to the hospital.
So tell us a bit more about her. Were you in a relationship with her?
She was a friend of my grandmother. She still is a friend of my grandmother. She's a family friend, I can say. And I still go visit her sometimes, but just because I moved from Lilongwe, I no longer visit her. But then whenever I had issues concerning spirituality or God, I would go to her and she would give me advice on what to do. So first of all, when I was very, very sick, they took me there. She prayed for me. I became better. And then she used to give me an water. But then I don't think what she was trying to do to me was a bad thing, because
she used to give you what?
Water which she used to pray for. I know to do water.
She used to give you anointed water.
Yeah, that's what ministers do.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what it is.
And
it only takes one belief to believe that it's going to work or not. And I used to believe this is going to work, and it used to work. Because whenever I had some other illnesses, let's say I was having a headache or what, after I administered myself with the anointed water, they would go away. So, but then the only thing which stayed was the mental illness. And she advised me that I think I've done my part and you have to visit the mental illness only. That's what stayed.
I mean, listen, so in my opinion, I'm going to say that her anointed water didn't work because mental illness is pervasive. So for you to tell me that when you were drinking whatever water she gave you, in a way it helped yourself, I'm not going to be writing that in the book. I'm going to say you thought it helped you. Because your mental illness persisted.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, actually, she just wanted me to become better. She wanted me to become better. So she advised me to visit a hospital, which we did. And then, after I saw that I was better, it happens to many people because they think that being mentally ill, it's somehow a bad thing. It gives out a bad picture of themselves and it ruins someone's reputation. So they also think that some other people, of course, not me right now, because right now I believe that I can take the medication and be doing some other stuff as well as a normal person. I am a normal person after all. So I used to think that maybe I should stop taking the medication because I was fine, because I wasn't facing any kind of problems. But little did I know that I was having a relapse, because the mental illness, it starts growing as in from stage 1 to a bigger stage, and you don't know what's going on. You just realize that you have another problem, and it relapses, and you've gone back to stage 1, like you've gone back to the psychotic stage. You become maniac, you become whatever. So I do know that I was hurting myself, not in physical.
You become chronic.
Psychotic. That's what
psychotic. Okay, yeah.
No, psychotic. Yeah. So it's like I was relapsing little by little because I stopped taking medication.
Mm-hmm.
And then
do you know what your prodromals are? Prodromals. Do you know what your early warning signs are? Prodromals. Do you know what early warning signs? We call them prodromals.
Oh, I think I know them, because right now I know that when I have this kind of early warning signs, I go to the hospital.
Yeah. So basically, the lady told you, my anointed water hasn't helped you. You need to go to hospital.
Actually, she doesn't really rely on anointed water. She relies on prayer. So she told me that I've done my part. I think you have to go to the hospital and get help. So I moved with my late mom to another district.
Which district,
for a
please?
while. Nchisi. It's spelled as NTCHISI. It's a rural area as well. It's not a city. It's just a district.
And were the mental health services any better there?
That side, my mom used to work as a nurse, so she would find medication for me. But that side, I stopped taking medication. That's why I stopped taking medication. It was my own choice to stop taking medication because I was thinking that I was better. So I stopped. Yeah.
Okay.
But I had to take them. I started taking them again and I went back to the city when things became worse. That's when I vowed not to stop taking medication.
So when you then relapsed, this is when you wrote the story and you ended up in Blair Hospital.
Baida, yeah, that's when I ended up there.
Baila Hospital. You got to excuse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
before we go, I'm going to quickly ask you whether you're all right for credit. Is your data still okay?
I have a couple of gigabytes, but then they'll end in a day. So don't worry about today. Today I'm fine.
Okay. Well, as you were, Ezekiel and I are writing a book entry, so that was a big surprise. And the manuscript, ladies and gentlemen, it's well on its way. We are hoping to have a book, a physical book, by August this year. And that is going to be published by another publisher. So I'm already headhunting publishers in Southern Africa and also here in the UK. And there is so much to tell about Ezekiel's story. We're going to explore his diagnosis, stigmatization, African beliefs such as witchcraft, his day-to-day struggles with chronic fatigue, and how Ezekiel has used creative writing to overcome his struggles with schizophrenia. And now, unfortunately, he was then diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Blimey, what a brave young man. And Ezekiel isn't 27 yet even, And it's a beautiful, heartwarming story, and it deserves to be read in the book. So this is just a synopsis of the story. This is just some of it. And I hope you enjoy it. So when the book does hit the shelves, ladies and gentlemen, don't say, I didn't tell you it was going to be a bestseller. Look at me. So when it does hit the shelves, ladies and gentlemen, we will reveal who the lovely Ezekiel is. And I just hope he continues to stay well and he continues to be concordant with his medication so we can have a very nice young gentleman who would present his story to us once we have a book.